What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Welcome to my no sooner than March 2021 Forbidden and Limited List prediction video. It has been quite some time since I've done a Banlist prediction, probably over a year or somewhere around there, but I think I can handle this. Anyways, I'm going to do this one differently than what I've done in the past and differently from what a lot of other YouTubers are doing. I am strictly going to focus on what I believe is going to happen. What Cap G wants to happen and what I believe should happen is kind of irrelevant in this video. I'm not going to insert my opinion all that much. I am strictly going to try to get inside the brain of TCG Konami and predict what I believe is most likely going to happen. I do have some outlandish takes, but believe me, there are some reasons for that, and I will explain that. So please don't kill me immediately before you understand where I am going with it and, my thought process and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. So for Forbidden, I have only two monsters. They are both Exceed monsters, so this is going to be a bloodbath for the Exceed mechanic, at least when it comes to ban cards. Those two cards are VFD, True King of All Calamities, and then also number S0, your top Exexel. True King of All Calamities is obviously the most hated card in Yu-Gi-Oh! This one is probably the most self-explanatory on the entire Forbidden and Limited list. I did not believe that it made a lot of sense on the last ban list to ban VFD, simply because, especially from Konami's perspective, I mean, they are a business. They do want to actually sell virtual world cards, and chances are probably 50-60% of the people who play VW right now would not have even picked up the cards if they banned VFD. They would have felt like, oh man, this deck got cheated. I never even got to play it, blah, 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 blah. Now the deck has been, at full power for at least one full format, and it has been a format where you've been able to play at officially sanctioned events, remote duels, whether you love them, hate them, whatever, that is basically your option right now, or maybe some IRL locals, etc., etc. So I feel like this is a win-win. Players stop complaining. Konami gets rid of a broken card that they're not going to make any more money off of. They've probably made the most that they're going to make off of VW, at least in the the time being. So kind of like a win-win for the players and for Konami. Number S0, your top Exexel. This is going to be, I believe, a preemptive ban. And honestly, this is the old argument of, do you ban a card because it's broken, or do you ban a card because it is adversely affecting the competitive meta? Because I will not argue that this card is in the upper echelon of the meta, or really even meta-worthy right now. It hasn't really done anything competitively, or at least not a lot, to justify a ban. However, if you look at the merits of the card itself, yeah, it's definitely ban-worthy. At least I believe so. If you look at this card, I think it's very akin to things like Shockmaster, maybe even True King of All Calamities, Elder Entity Azathoth, or maybe he's an Outer Entity, whatever. You guys know these are the type of cards that can basically stop your opponent for like an entire turn. Your top Exexel uniquely covers all the different card types, monsters, spells, and traps, and it does work for multiple turns, sometimes even 3 full turns, and usually if you don't have an immediate answer, you're just going to lose to this card. The main reason I think that they're going to ban this card right now, and when they do, other YouTubers, because I'm pretty much the only one talking about this, I want some serious props, even though I probably won't get it. I believe they're going to ban S0 because in the next Score Booster set, Lightning Overdrive, we're getting a bunch of Utopia support. I mean, the cover card of the set is a Utopia Exceed monster, and that stuff could be absolutely ridiculous if S0 is still in the game. Now, in the OCG, that never happened because Zexal has been banned for some time, but essentially, if Konami kept this around, it would kind of be like a TCG exclusive deck, because we would be able to play it in a way that they could never in the OCG. And if you've never played against Utopia, where they activate Exceed Change Tactics and they draw sometimes 5-6 cards in a turn, imagine them doing that standard Utopia stuff, but then also just dropping like an S0 towards the end of their turn. And, I think that that would be just ridiculous. Also, things like Gamma probably wouldn't even out the S0 because the new Zexal weapons can negate monster effects, so they probably have that as like a backup plan in case you had some answer to, your top Exexal. So I don't think Konami is going to allow us to play the deck in that capacity. That is the reason why I have the card in my crosshairs right now. A couple cards I do not believe are going to get banned, even though they are probably ban worthy. Mystic Bind, Konami doesn't care about this card. It's at 1 in the OCG. They have showed no interest since Dark Neo Storm. Basically, any hostility towards it, they put Metaverse at 1, and they haven't really looked at this card since. Guard Dragon LP, same thing. I don't think this card is on Konami's radar. Whether it be ban worthy or not, they just don't seem to be paying attention to it. If you look at the Dragon treatment over the last few years in the OCG and TCG, Konami OCG went after dragons pretty hard. They banned Red Eyes Metal Darkness Dragon. That never happened here. They banned Opie a while ago. That never happened here. It tells me that it's just not on Konami's radar. Finally, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, card's too new in my opinion. Konami doesn't really hit a lot of new things outside of Link Cross. I think Konami wants to make money off of a reprint of this card, and until that happens, it's just I don't see it getting banned. I mean, maybe a limit, but they're just not. I don't think they're going to do anything to this card. There's too much money to be made on reprinting it. When it comes to limits, we obviously have the obligatory Firewall Dragon. It got errated. It's already happened in the OCG, so we have Presidents. Plus, we know it's getting a reprint, so basically all the signals are there. I also have the Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force. So this is simply a repeat of Azathoth plus the Rank Up Magic Phantom Knight launch. If you guys remember that situation where Orcus players were summoning Azathoth during the opponent's turns to lock them out, Konami said, big brain, we'll just go hit the rank up card, and then you guys can't do that. And then it was like, oops, surprise, Luna Lights can summon Azathoth so that you can't hand trap them. And then Konami was like, oops, maybe we screwed up. They ended up banning the Xyz monster, and then they brought back the rank up card. Same exact situation is going to happen here. If you ban S0, then the whole Beatrice play with Argent Chaos Force can happen, and that was the genesis for why this card got banned. So it'll be the same exact situation happening again. Salamangreat Great Mirage Stalio is going to come to 1. So there has been a lot of calling in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, players, creators, etc., for a lot of the cards that got banned in 2020 on the January list, for those cards to come back. If you're unfamiliar with that list, that was the list where Electromite, Harp Horror, Mirage Stalio, Colossus, and Mobilize Engage, where those cards got banned. And now there's a lot, it's become very popular to ask for those cards to come back to 1, like at least some of them. I think this will be the first domino to fall. I'm not saying all of those cards will come back, but I think that they will slowly start moving the wheels towards getting those cards back in the game. This will be the first domino. It'll be the least impactful. It'll be that card, Konami brings it back. They think they're being spicy, but it's like, who cares really? It's not going to do much. I believe that Cyber Angel Benton is going to go to 1. That's the only card from our current metagame that is going to get hit. I think that the new Xyz monster from Lightning Overdrive for Drytron is definitely good enough to give the deck a power boost, but if it gets that card plus 3 Ben 10, it's just going to be ridiculous. I honestly think 3 Ben 10 is just crazy right now. You see sometimes Drytron players using Ben 10 4 or 5 times, sometimes 6 times in a turn. That's utterly ridiculous. Nobody needs to be using a card 6 times in a turn. That's how you end up, getting yourself banned like Level Eater and Fishborg Blaster, etc., etc. I believe Konami will attempt to thwart that by just, putting this card at 1. Plus, there really can't be that much complaining. There's still like a billion ways to get to this card. And in addition to that, you can summon it from the graveyard, and if you make a small pivot to the Megalith build, you can play things like Dawn of the Heralds and Megalith Fool. Those both get the Ben 10 back from the graveyard, and so you can use it again. So I'm not going to hear any complaining. Heavy Meta Foes Electromite will not get unbanned. I'm not even going to entertain that. If you don't know why, Jerome McHale, who is the head of R&D, who you should know, he created Dangers, he created Spiral, he created like Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More. He has said on the record that Electromite makes every single Pendulum deck play the same. That is his opinion, and he is the head of R&D and Konami, aka he makes the ban list. So if his opinion has not changed, I don't understand why that card would get unbanned. I don't care how much Metaphor support they make, they're not going to bring it back for that, because it's simply an ideology reason. It's the reason we don't have Max C. It's the reason why Tribe Infecting Virus was banned for 15 years in the TCG. Kevin Tewart used to say that the card was bad for type decks. He was also the reason that Solemn Judgment got banned during Zexal, because he thought the card was broken. So yeah, sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh, when a Konami employee's ideology is just that stern on a card, it's just not going to come off the list. I believe that Konami is aware of this Pendulum sympathy though, and they've actually started giving us some Pendulum cards back. We just saw that with Double Iris Magician, and instead of Electromites, I think that Scrollcabat Joker will be the card that comes back. I thought about Astrograph and Performage, Plush Fire, but I think that Joker probably does the most. So I think Joker is coming back. You're seeing Pendulum Sympathy in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and you're starting to see it from Konami. Double Iris was at least my first sign of that. And I don't think it's going to be Electromite, but I do believe it's going to be Joker. For the next 3 cards, I lumped them all together. And I think 2 of them will come off the ban list, but I have them lumped together for the same reason. These are cards that I think Konami may be having a little bit of remorse on. So sometimes when Konami bans a card and it later gets banned in the OCG, Konami TCG probably feels justified. They're like, yeah, we were ahead of the curve. We were right about this. OCG just validated what we did. An example of this would be like Topologic Gumblar Dragon. Usually when Konami takes a card from 3 to 0, that's a sign of hastiness. Like they didn't even attempt to thwart the problem. They could have at least tried to put it at 1. These are all cards that fit the bill, but I believe that Konami, not only did they not get justification from the OCG, because all of these cards are at 3 in the OCG. Before you try to kill me and say, oh, Cap G, this is so dumb, these cards are infinitely broken, they're at 3 in the OCG. Literally nobody plays them. There may be a reason for that. But also, Konami might be thinking, did we go overboard? These are also cards that, well, outside of one of them, when they got banned, most people were kind of like, I guess. Like, no one was like, yeah, get that out the game. It's so terrible. Most of the community over here were just like, I guess. The first 2 cards, I feel very good about, at least the first card. So under that category, I have Lunalight Tiger, Destrudo, and Fairy Tale Snow. Of the 3 cards, I feel the most confident about Fairy Tale Snow. So Fairy Tale Snow, if my memory serves me, it was just way different back then. You had Brilliant Fusion to dump this in the graveyard. That's not possible now. Soul Charge was legal back then, so that's not possible now. Loading your graveyard up was crazy. I get that Fairy Tale Snow is not a hard once per turn. She's not even a once per chain. But mainly, that card used to be nuts with Thunder Dragons. Like, you would summon her, and then she could trigger Thunder Dragons in the process. Thunder Dragons is not a real deck. It does absolutely nothing. Until Colossus comes back, I don't even think Thunder Dragons have a win condition, so who cares if you play Fairy Tale Snow and Thunder Dragons? It's still going to be a table 500 deck, and anyone prove me wrong if you disagree. I think Fairy Tale Snow has a very good chance of going to 1. Cards at 3 in the OCG. I'm actually shocked they don't play it since they have Grass over there. Destrudo is the one that I feel least confident about, and that's simply because Destrudo plus Guard Dragon LP could be kind of crazy, and I just don't think they care about LP right now, so I can't really argue for LP getting hit. So maybe that's the reason why this one won't come back. Maybe Konami realizes that LP plus Destrudo could kind of be nuts in the same format. Lunalight Tiger, even though you could say I'm biased because I love my double L's, I think that this is one where I really thought about it, and I was like, if you're playing Lunalight and you have 1 Tiger, yes, the power of the deck will still be very, very high, although they won't be able to have double Tiger, so it won't be quite as high, but the variance of Lunalights would be off the charts. Yeah, you'll still be able to make like Appaloosa and maybe Evil Swarm Nightmare and Lambda and stuff like that, and that's all really cool. But if you don't open with Tiger because there's only 1 copy and you didn't hit Tenki or you didn't hit Perfume, you're basically not playing a deck. You're playing Lunalights as they are right now, which is horrible. So I'm not sure anyone's going to do that competitively. Like, seriously, are you willing to risk your tournament life on open Tiger or not be playing a real Yu-Gi-Oh deck? Because I love double L's, but without Tiger, it's not really a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It's just terrible, honestly. So I think that bit of sympathy could get the card back. And then I only have 1 semi-limit. There should be a lot of cards moving from like limited to unlimited, but that's irrelevant. I think Konami hates True Draco. Look at Dynamite Knight at 1. I think Konami has forgotten that they even put Light Stage on the Forbidden Unlimited list. So I only have 1 card moving to 2, and that is Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine. I don't think that there is a good reason for this. I simply have it on here because it seems like a lot of people are passive aggressive about the Eldorado deck. They constantly put this card on their Forbidden Unlimited list just cause there's not really a good reason. Everyone, when you ask people what they think of Eldritch, they're always like, oh, it's bad. It's not even that good. It's not like anywhere near the best deck. But then they're also like, oh yeah, but put Eld Elixir to 2, put Curse Outland to 2. So I don't know. I feel like it's dumb and passive aggressive, and Konami has probably heard it enough to just do a little bit to it. So that's what I believe is going to happen. When it comes to cards going to 3, who cares? Because it's really not going to affect anything. Unless it's light stage, I honestly don't care. So that is my Forbidden Unlimited list. You guys tell me what I got right, what I got wrong, what you want to see. Leave it in the comment section below.